this video, we'll walk through a basic installation of Stencil command line interface on Linux using Ubuntu 16.04. We'll also cover downloading the base theme Cornerstone and initializing and launching the CLI. Full documentation on these instructions can be found on our Stencil developer portal. Before you can install the CLI, there are some dependencies that you must have. First, you do need to have root permissions on your computer. If you don't have root permissions, you may need to run installation commands with the sudo prefix. Next, you will need a Git client. My Linux distro came with Git installed, but if yours did not, you should be able to find installation instructions for your distro at git-scm.com. After that, you'll need to have node.js. We recommend using NVM for installing Node. Please check the Stencil documentation for the current recommended version. Once you've got the dependencies covered, installing the CLI is simple. I'm going to pull up Terminal and use the following command. During the installation, you may see warnings about deprecation of the Good Reporter interface or other components. You can safely ignore these warnings. After the CLI finishes installing, you'll want to clone the base Cornerstone theme into your local environment. In Terminal, navigate to whichever directory you want to install the base theme in. Then, use the following command to clone the theme to your chosen directory. Next, you must use npm to add the Stencil utils JavaScript utilities to the theme. You'll want to navigate into the theme directory, then run the following command. Keep in mind, if you clone a new version of Cornerstone at a later date, you must rerun this command in the new theme directory. Before Stencil can be initialized, an API account needs to be created on the BigCommerce store that you will be developing for. To do this, log into the store's control panel and navigate to Advanced Settings, API Accounts. Currently, only store owners have access to this area of the control panel. Click the option in the upper left, Create an API Account. Add a username. I just use Stencil. Then set your theme's scope. Read Only lets you connect to the store with browser sync so you can see how changes will look on the live storefront. Using the Modify scope will allow you to apply themes to the store using the command line interface. I'll set Modify as my scope as we'll use this in a later video. Then I'll save. Once you hit save, you'll get a pop-up window with your client ID and access token. You'll want to save these from when we initialize Stencil. A text file will also be downloaded so you have a copy of the credentials. Once you click Done, you won't be able to view the token information again, so keep the text file in a safe location. Now that the API account has been created, Stencil can be initialized. In Terminal, you should still be within the theme directory. From here, use the command stencil init. It should now prompt you for the homepage URL for the store you're going to be developing against locally. Go ahead and enter the URL. Next, it'll ask you for the port you'd like to run the store on. It defaults to 3000, which is what we recommend. Next, it's going to ask you for your API credentials. First, you'll need the client ID. Then, the access token. Once all those are entered, you should get a confirmation that Stencil is initialized. From here, you can launch your theme using the stencil start command. Once it's started, you can see a list of URLs to access the local store, including external URLs you can use for testing on other devices. Here, I'll use localhost 3000 in a browser tab.